Welcome everybody to another video of Vinyl Addict. This is Chili and I'm going to rank, of course, the greatest rock and roll band of all time, the Rolling Stones. All 30 studio albums of theirs from 1964 to 2016, the Charlie Watts years, because I understand here we are at 2023 and there's supposed to be a new album coming out. I think they'll have some tracks with Charlie and some with Steve. However, let's just gonna go through the history and my ranking. And before I get into this, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment on this video, share this video, and if you still haven't, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for updates. Okay, so with that out of the way, we're starting off at number 30, and this was the last album they put out. This is Blue and Lonesome. It's them doing a bunch of cover songs of old blues songs. They kind of went full circle, and because they started off doing covers in 1964, and so they kind of went back and this came out of just a while they were recording their album, they just started playing some other songs and then covers, and then it became like a project. So to get away from the I guess the stress of just their regular recording of a new album. And so Blue and Lonesome, I picked it last because it's like, it's not original material, it's just them doing covers. However, it does sound good. It's a great album. I don't feel like, there's really a bad album of the Stones. The Stones' worst album is probably better than other artists' great album. So, there you go. So there's number 30. Okay, so now we go into 29, and I have Dirty Work. Okay, so this album is 85, and it has the songs Harlem Shuffle. One Hit to the Body was a hit off here as well. And the thing is, it was around a time where, Mick and Keith both had solo albums and weren't really paying no mind to this, and Charlie Watts was going through a heroin addiction, and so he missed some sessions and is not on some of these tracks. Steve Jordan is on them, so this is my number 29. Okay, so 28, we have Steel Wheels. After a long hiatus, from touring, from 81 was the last time they toured, and they toured in 89 with this. This album, of course, they come into this and they have like the whole touring band now. It's really different. They have Chuck Leavell as the musical director, and they got the background singers, and they're all on the album as well. So there were some hits on here as far as like Sad, 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 Mixed Emotions, and Rock in a Hard Place, and What Almost Hear You Sigh, which was cool. I love the little guitar lead that Keith does. So there you go, Rolling Stones, Steel Wheels. 27, Bridges to Babylon. Okay, so this is 97, I believe, and it was okay. I just didn't like the vibe of the electronica stuff that they were putting in here. Like I Might As Well Get Juiced. Mick is always trying to be relevant sometimes, and just like whatever's going on, the flavor of the month, it kind of incorporated in their music. It's worked in the past. For this time, I was kind of like, but I mean, Saint of Me is in here, and Out of Control is a great song. Gunface is really cool. So there you go, Bridges to Babylon. Okay, so we go into Emotional Rescue, and this is one of my favorite bass lines from Bill was Emotional Rescue, the title song here. She's So Cold is on here. Where the Boys Go, great dance. Dance is a great song. It is sort of just like they were getting into the kind of out of that little punk thing, but it's still really cool. New wave stuff. They're trying to still be relevant again. I don't like that word when it comes to the Stones, because when the Stones do it, it's really cool. However, this is number 26. Now we're going to number 2. Okay, so this is released in the UK. In the US, we had 12 by 5. I put this one, you know, because sometimes throughout the Brian Jones period, there will be, you know, 2 releases, one UK, US. I have all of them here. Sometimes the flow of one album is better than the other, and maybe some of the songs are different, of course. And this one, I mean, it had Time on My Side is on my side, of course. Under the Boardwalk, they do some covers, a lot of covers here. And Off the Hook is probably theirs, but then, you know, Susie Q. This is, you know, still them trying to find themselves, whatnot, but it's okay. You know, number 2. Now, sometimes the States, maybe like the United States, the US copies are better than the UK ones. So we're going to the first album from the UK. And Route 66, I Just Want to Make Love to You's on here. You know, I'm a King Bee, a lot of good blues songs on here. And You Can Make It If You Try, you know. So this is their first album in the UK. I tended to like the American one because it starts off with Not Fade Away, which is cool. Route 66, I Just Want to Make Love to You. Some of the same songs, but this one has Carol too. So there you go. So it could be just like one song that's on the American one, or one song that's on the, you know, the UK version, which could just change everything for me. So there you go with that. And it's England's New Hit Makers. And then we go back to the future and we go to number 22, A Bigger Bang. Okay, so this is a double vinyl. And this is pretty much the last studio album they put out. And, you know, I did like Rough Justice on here. There's a lot of great songs on here. Oh No, Not You Again. And, you know, so they did come out with a great album in the 2000s, and only one. I think it was 2005, you know. And then for number 21, we have their Satanic Majesty's Request. They didn't really care about this album, but you know what? This is the last album where actually Brian Jones is fully engulfed in the project still. You know, later on he just kind of just, you know, with his drug problems, kind of just like, he'll just be there but not there. And he's really contributing. There's some great songs on here. I like Citadel. The only song here that Bill Wyman wrote and sang is In Another Land, which is okay. I like 2000 Man, which is a really cool song, which Kiss later on copied and had Ace Frehley singing it, which is really cool. And She's a Rainbow, John Paul Jones is on that from Zeppelin. 2,000 Light Years from Home. There's some really good songs on here. And this is like their answer, or, you know, people would say their answer to Sgt. Pepper, you know, and it has a little cool kind of thing in their cover. So there you go with first 10. Now we're going into number 20, and this is Out of Our Heads, the UK one. And this cover would be used again for December's Children. But so this UK version, you know, That's How Strong My Love is on here. I'm Free, which is a great one. And I love the Under Assistant West Coast Promotion Man, which is great. So, and Heart of Stone, which is a really good song that I love. Okay, so we're going into Now as number 19, and this has Heart of Stone as well, you know what I mean, and Off the Hook. So some of these things are Little Red Rooster, you know, and they become like just little mini compilations, which, you know, you see some of the same songs coming and going and everything, and it's interesting, you know. What a Shame is really cool, you know. I do, you know, the earlier stuff like this from with Brian Jones is really, really like it's a different band, and it's just it is, you know, I could just go from that period to the Mick Taylor period to the Ron Wood period. There's like so many different bands of this. If I start getting bored with this, you know, version of Stones, I could go here, you know, and so, and here we go with the U.S. is 12 by 5, their second album here. This one, I liked it more because it had Around and Around, you know, and It's All Over Now, you know. Songs that they played at the Tammy show, because when I saw that, it was just like, where, you know, they were the closing band right after James Brown, and, you know, so that's how these songs stuck to me, because they sang them on that one, and so that's why that one made it to 18. Now we go to another US, Between the Buttons. Okay, so this one they have, this is Let's Spend the Night Together and Ruby Tuesday, and they would be on little compilations here and there. But I didn't care as much for this release than the UK one was really good. I just felt the collection of, you know, Yesterday's Papers being the first song is better, and then Let's Spend the Night Together, and just the whole, you know, the way this one flows. Of course, it's still, you know, a great album, great, you know, you got Connection, which is the first time we hear Keith Richards sings. This is his debut right here. So, America's version. Now here we come with that December's Children, and everybody's the same, like I said, the same cover from Out of Our Heads. This one has the singer, not the song. And see, Route 66 is on here. And that was from like the first album, you know. But here we have the premiere of Get Off My Cloud, you know. So As Tears Go By is on here. I'm Free is on here, you know. So December's Children. Okay, so now we're going to 15. We're going back to the 70s, and we have It's Only Rock and Roll. The last one with Mick Taylor, and you know, there were some great songs on here. This is a Japanese import, but you know, as far as You Can't Rock Me is a great opening track. It's Only Rock and Roll, but I like it, of course. And the one that I really love is Luxury. I think Luxury is on here, first song, side 2. Short and Curly's, and you know, they had a more of a R&B approach on here, you know, so a lot of soul. They did, you know, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. They always been kind of doing the Temptations throughout their career, so It's Only Rock and Roll. 15. 14, Tattoo You, coming into the 80s with material that's kind of like from the Some Girls, and even dates back to the vaults to Goat Head Soup. You know, so they had the original Start Me Up, which was kind of reggae, and they, you know, Keith redid it with the riff. But great songs on here, Hang Fire, Little TNA, that's him singing on that, Black Limousine. You know, the movie, Let's Spend the Night Together, they go through all these songs. I love Waiting on a Friend. That would have to be one of my favorite songs on here. And of course, Worried About You was another single, and Neighbors, right? So, and there's Mick, and there's, ooh, Keith, good save. Okay, so now we're going to the 13. This is the US version of Aftermath. The Rolling Stones, now they only have, I believe, 10 songs on this one, 14 on the UK one, and we'll see that one later. This one does start off with Painted Black. Stupid Girl's a good song. Underrated song. I really like that song. Lady Jane, Under My Thumb is on here. And Going Home is last. And this is like an 11-minute song, you know. And that was pretty different back then for this time coming out to have a song that long on there. But, you know, it's a really good piece. And I like how they put it here on the end. They put it on the end of side 1, I believe, on the first album, or it's in the middle of side 1, so Aftermath. US. Okay, another US is Out of Our Heads. Okay, so this is the one where Satisfaction is on it, on the first song on side 2. other than hearing it on, you know, compilations, I like to hear that song from its session or from, you know, an album. And even though this is like the US version, it's a nice mono, I just like it in this collection, just, you know, that they put it on a regular album. And Hitchhike is really cool, the Marvin Gaye song, This Will Be the Last Time is on here. The Spider and the Fly. And of course, again, the Under Assistant West Coast Promotion Man. So some of these other songs, they're you know, they're all in different releases and stuff, but then they'll have The Spider and the Fly, which is a great blues song. It's very funny. It's kind of dark, you know, a dark, kind of sinister, smirky way, you know. It's very, you know, something only Jagger could come up with. So The Spider and the Fly. Okay, so we go into number 11, and I feel this is a very underrated album, Undercover of the Night. They didn't tour for this album. She Was Hot is on here, Feel On Baby, and Want to Hold You with Keith Richards singing. I really love Too Much Blood and Too Tough. This whole album is great, all the way down, you know, and by the time they got into the Steel Wheels tour, they did do some songs from here. They did Undercover the Night, but they didn't really go in depth with this. She Was Hot, they played live on the Shine a Light movie, so that was really cool. So they should, I like when they should, you know, delve into this album more when they perform, because it's a very underrated album. So Undercover is 11. Now we're on the last top 10, and here we go. Voodoo Lounge. Okay, so they came back in the 90s, and they did a really, they came back hard with this. I mean, it was just, they were kind of like revisiting things in the past, what they've done, but they did it in a newer way. You know, I mean, Love It Strong is a great opener. It's kind of low key, and it's just kind of, you know, and that harmonica that he does on there, You Got Me Rockin', that's a classic kind of Rolling Stones. That's not like, you know, it's like a, you would think that would be like the first song, you know, like a You Can't Rock Me, or a song like that, you know what I mean, or Start Me Up. But yeah, they put it on the second one, and it was still good, you know. The Worst, New Faces, The Moon Is Up, you know. I really, yeah, fell in love with this album when it first came out. It was just like, wow. Especially for the time it came out, you know, it was like kind of like post-grunge period, and there was, you know, they just came in at the right time with this. So Voodoo Lounge. Number 9, Black and Blue. Now this album is, I guess, apparently the first with Ronnie Wood, but Ronnie was in It's Only Rock and Roll. He actually played on that song. He did some sessions over there, but this was also an album where they're just trying to audition guitar players, and so you'll have a bunch of different guitar players on here. But the music, especially the ones that Ronnie brought in here, the kind of reggae kind of thing and vibe and everything, is really cool. Hand of Fate is on here, which is one of my favorite songs. Hot Stuff is cool. You know, the Hotel, the Memory Hotel, A Negrita, that's a great song. There's, what else is on? Fool to Cry, Melody. This whole thing, Crazy Mama, ends with a really cool rockin' song. Yeah, the Memory Motel, not the Hotel. Sorry about that. Okay, but we got the point. So, Black and Blue. Okay, number 8, Goat Head Soup. This is the album following XL on Main Street, and you know, it kind of just, people felt like it wasn't as strong as the first 3. You know what I mean? The prior 3, the Let It Bleed, the, you know, Sticky Fingers, and, you know, the XL on Main Street. And I don't know, I thought it was a great follow-up. There's some great songs on here. 100,000 Years is my favorite. Dancing with Mr. D, that opening riff. Do Do Do, Heartbreaker, Angie. Of course, that sounds so 70s, that song. Silver Train, Hide Your Love, you know, Star Star, of course, which they would introduce earlier as Starfucker, but that's on the chorus, right? So Goat Head Soup, and now we're going to that other Aftermath at number 7. I have them there for, you know, and it starts off, instead of Painted Black in the US version, we have Mother's Little Helper, and there are more songs on here. There's 14 more songs. The Out of Time is on here, okay, and Going Home is, yep, it's on the first side, last song. It does, well, I think it does work better though, like on the other Aftermath, how it's just the very last song. But however, ranked it up here in the top 10 at number 7, which brings us to number 6. This is one of their masterpieces, I think, Some Girls. This is all kind of all over the place with different kinds of music they were exploring, from the punk thing, you know, country, Faraway Eyes, When the Whip Comes Down is great, Miss You, some disco, Beast of Burden. You know, I always felt like that was like Tumbling Dice Part 2, you know, kind of thing. Shattered, you know, this whole thing. Before They Make Me Run, there you have another Keith song, and there we have Imagination. Okay, Just My Imagination, you know, Temptations all over again. All right, so that is number 6. Now we're going to the final 5. Between the Buttons. Okay, so this is the UK version. It's starting off with Yesterday's Papers, My Obsession, Backstreet Girls on here, which is great. Connection again. I just felt like this track list is just, you know, perfect, you know. The Let's Spend the Night Together and the Ruby Tuesday, they're great songs, of course, but they just, I know they were singles, and they just kind of put it on there, and it was on the Flowers compilation, but, you know, when they put it with an album like this, it seems like these songs are more coherent together than putting those two in. So I guess those were incentives to get the album, right, in America. So, but the UK version, Between the Buttons. Okay, so now we're going to number 4, and we have the Rolling Stones, Beggars Banquet. Okay, and here is, I like the gatefold here, and the covers are getting ready. This is like 68, and you know, the songs on here, you know, No Expectations. Great song, and that's probably the last thing that they said Brian did good. If you see the movie, they have Crossfire Hurricane. It's really sad, and they kind of showcase that song, and that's the last thing he was able to do that sounded like Brian. Street Fighting Man, of course, The Salt of the Earth is awesome, you know, Prodigal Son, doing the blues thing still, of course, and Sympathy for the Devil. Okay, so this is had to be in the top 5, right? So that's number 4. Now we're going to the big 3. Okay, so I have this album, the Zipper album, they call it. You know, this is the real Zipper. Sticky Fingers, and there's different covers of this, of course. The ones with the fingers, there's that one. But this is a classic Andy Warhol one, and beginning to end, this album is perfect. And it was it's a nice, new, fresh start in the 70s with Mick Taylor. Can't You Hear Me Knocking? The 10-minute opus live, when they do it live, is great. And there's just, yes, this is a perfect album from beginning and end. From Brown Sugar, he's really going into that open G style. He's really Keith Richards with the 5 strings on his guitar, and he's just like coming up with these great riffs. You know, I don't have to tell you what's on this album. Of course, Wild Horse is on here, Sister Morphine, Bitch, you know, and of course the country song Dead Flowers, which I love a lot too. So here we go, number 3. Sticky Fingers, which leads us to number 2. Okay, I guess, you know, I mean, this has my favorite song of the Stones, Midnight Rambler, but I had this album at number 2. Let It Bleed, of course, with I mean, this is another song where everything is perfect, and it's a transition album. You know, Brian is out, of course, and then they're kind of trying to work in, you know, Mick Taylor, but it's predominantly more so Keith. But you got Monkey Man here, Live With Me, of course, Give Me Shelter. The opening track on here is just very haunting, and that, you know, that background singer singing rape and murder. It's just like, wow. It's just like, it opens up the album and then it closes, but you can't always get what you want with the choir. I mean, it was just like, great album, you know. And you got The Silver, which is one of my favorites Keith songs, which leads us to no doubt number one. This is what could you say about this? Exile on Main Street. I mean, this is like, they say this is the album where it started a lot of bands, and this is the way they were, and then the way they, you know, they handled themselves, and just like the whole thing with the, at the time of this, and the Cocksucker Blues movie, which showcases a lot of this kind of period and them in France. And usually, like, when people are recording music and they're just in a drug out, you know, kind of environment, sometimes the music comes out shitty, you know, when everyone's just all lit up. But this one wasn't like that. It was just like, they came out with something magnificent, you know, when they were, you know, taking substances and drinking, and, you know, just like the ongoing party. And this is what came out of it, you know, from the beginning of Rocks Off, you know, awesome opener. Everything on it. Tumbling Dice was on here, you know, Sweet Virginia. There's so many great songs. Loving Cup, you know. So this is my number one, Exile on Main Street. I do love the cover too, with all the oddities and everything, and they, you know, they felt like they were just outlaws at this time. So they were bringing in the 70s and taking the 70s, and they were like pretty much the ones kind of like, I would say the ones who were running the 70s at this time, that, you know, you got to keep up with these guys. And, you know, it's like they destroyed the 60s at Altamont with the peace, love, and all that stuff. And they just said, now follow us. We're going into this new decade. And the 70s officially started with this album. So, Exile on Main Street, that's my number one. So, what are your thoughts on my ranking? Leave me a comment below. Some may have a different point of view, of course, that's great, we all do. But it's all about the Stones, and so there's no wrong list. Okay, so with that, I'll shut up and I'll see you guys on the next video.